Can the New England Patriots earn the upset victory over the Miami Dolphins this Sunday at Hard Rock Stadium? Stick around. You're about to be locked in to the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful. Thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. I'm your host, Mike Debate. I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country. Reach out to me. Let me know what's on your mind on X at MDABATENFL. Also available where the skies are blue on Blue Sky at mdabatenfl.bsky.social. And of course, if you're looking to send some social media love to Locked On Patriots, follow our X account at LO_Patriots. Pats fans, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Pats fans, your New England Patriots are set to travel to Miami to face the Dolphins at Hard Rock Stadium this weekend, a Week 12 matchup, the second of two meetings between these two clubs. Of course, the Pats are trying to avenge a 15-10 loss to Miami back at Gillette Stadium on October 6th. And not surprisingly, the Pats are entering this one as 7-point underdogs, according to our good friends over at FanDuel Sportsbook. If the Patriots are to be successful in this game, and folks, there is a way to do it, our guest today may be the man with the plan to get them the win. That's right. My good friend, a columnist extraordinaire for PatsFans.com, as well as being the co-host of another amazing Patriots podcast, one of your favorites, I'm sure. And if it's not, try it. You'll love it. I guarantee it. Patriots 4th and 2 alongside the great Derek Havens. My Patriots Paisan, Steve Balestrieri, joins me once again for the second time this week. Steve, thanks for coming back to join me here on Locked On Patriots. Welcome back to the pod, bud.
Hey, thank you for, inviting me for coffee and cake on a nice Friday afternoon.
I love it.
Godfather reference. We had to do one of those. So,
of course.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to be the last either, if we're being honest.
Probably not. Thanks again for inviting me twice in 1 week. I feel blessed. So, it's going to be nice weather in Miami this week too. It's not going to be that typical, like, blistering hot visit down there.
Yeah, definitely. And who knows, maybe the Patriots can take advantage of that and reverse the trend in what has typically been a house of horrors for New England down in Miami Gardens. Not an easy place to play. The Pats always seem to have difficulty, but you know what? Trends were made to be broken. And Steve, the last time these two teams faced off, and Kyle Krebs of Locked On Dolphins and I crossed the streams earlier this week, and we talked a little bit about how these two teams are differing in their approach. Obviously, Drake Maye is now the full-time starting quarterback for the New England Patriots, but the Dolphins have Tua Tagovailoa back in the driver's seat. He is once again the quarterback of this team, and in the 6 starts that Tua has made, Miami is averaging 23.5 points per game. So obviously, their offense much better suited to Tua Tagovailoa. The motion schemes that Mike McDaniel loves to run are better off in Tua's hands. So I guess the best way to start off, because you do know a thing or two about defense, is up front. In order for the Patriots to try to lessen the impact that Tua has, what type of contribution do the Patriots need from the front seven in order to make that happen?
Well, I think they need two things from the front seven. They need to contain him in the pocket, and not that he's going to run a lot, but you don't want him extending plays and, roaming to the outside, which gives their speedy wide receivers more time to get downfield. And they'll obviously get wide open when plays like that happen. I think that's number one. And the second thing is they have to get pressure on him. And the best way to do that would be pressure up the middle. And yes, we're talking about Christian Barmore.
Mm. Yeah, without question. I mean, Barmore was definitely much more active on the practice field this week than he was in the previous week, and we saw him suit up. Not necessarily an extreme impact player against the Rams, but you saw him pop up, draw the double team every now and then. You know that Christian is going to be looking to increase his role, his snap count, and anytime he's out on the field, more often than not, it's good news for the New England Patriots. So I agree with you. That presence needs to be felt up front, and it facilitates guys like Keon White, like Yannick Ngakoue, who I think we're going to see a little bit more of this week. Dietrich Wise Jr., hopefully he can make a return to the lineup. His practice participation has been spotty, but hopefully moving in the right direction to get him back out there. Jeremiah Farms is someone that had a great game a couple of weeks ago against the Chicago Bears. I'd like to see him return to form and come back into his own when it comes to that front seven. All of these guys need to pull together in order to be able to stop this Dolphins offense, because when they are clicking and when that motion is working, it really works to perfection. It's like poetry in motion. I mean, you've got obviously very talented receivers that can run that type of scheme. You've got an extremely talented running back core, and I think the perfect quarterback to kind of navigate all of it together. And credit Mike McDaniel for being able to make adjustments and being able to call a proper game to put his team in the best position to win. Steve, I know you mentioned Christian Barmore needing to come up big, but are there other players on this roster, especially in that front seven, that you think need to make that second level leap and really elevate their game to a new level for the Pats to pull off the upset?
Oh yeah, I think interior. You definitely want to see Barmore, getting back to what he does best, and that is wreaking havoc up the middle. And people used to say years ago, the knock on Tom, well, he doesn't like pressure in his face. I got news for you. Nobody does. No
Mm-hmm.
one likes that pressure coming straight at you, because it takes away a bunch of options for you as a quarterback. So I think that's number one. They have to get that interior pressure. But Keon White is a guy that I look at, you know, they really need a really good game from him, because he can be on the edge. He can be, interior. He has that ability, to collapse the pocket, get after the quarterback, and he's athletic enough where, if they catch Tua flat-footed, he can run him down. So I mean, they need these guys to step up. You already mentioned a bunch of other names, and those guys are all going to have to. I mean, to beat Miami in Miami, you're going to have a terrific defensive effort. And I think all of those guys, they need to step up this week.
Yeah, without question. And if the front seven is doing their job, it makes life easier on that secondary. And Steve, you and I both know that secondary is going to have his hands full this weekend, regardless of the matchups they choose. There are so many weapons that Tua Tagovailoa and a coach like Mike McDaniel have at their disposal to be able to dial up opportunities for. Tyreek Hill is most likely going to draw Christian Gonzalez. That's just the way it goes. These two have had several memorable matchups until this point. The last time these two teams played, Christian covered Tyreek on 21 of his 29 routes. He held him to only 3 catches, 55 yards. Only targeted 6 times on those, and he also had a pass breakup in between. So Christian can handle covering Tyreek Hill. Tyreek may still get his opportunities, and he's extremely talented. So it's not a given that he's going to be completely taken out of the game no matter who's covering him. But with Christian on him, you got to feel pretty good about those odds. Now, you look at what the Patriots are going to bring in the secondary, and I want to credit Evan Lazar of Patriots.com, who spoke about this earlier this week to us at Gillette Stadium. And he predicted that the Patriots were going to try to match speed on speed and pair Marcus Jones with Jalen Waddle. If he's going to be this team's full-time slot corner moving forward, he's going to have to prove that he can cover someone of Jalen's prowess. That may mean Jonathan Jones could possibly kick over and play a little bit of safety to help keep the lid on that defense. So when you look at this team and how they match up from the secondary, first of all, how difficult of a matchup do you believe it's going to be? And are these the types of personnel groupings Pats fans should expect when these two teams take the field?
Yeah, I think we should expect those. I mean, that seems to make the most sense. I mean, last week, I don't know why, but, they took their own guy, out of the play by leaving Gonzalez away from, the Rams' top two guys. So, but I think, what you were just talking about, I think that's a good way to approach it initially, and then you see how it goes. Um, when I look at Miami, the top guys are going to get their yards, but the Patriots have done a pretty good job against Hill and Waddle at times. I mean, there's been games where they ran wild over him, but overall, I think the Patriots have done a pretty good job. Um, what worries me, is those secondary receivers, the backs out of the backfield. You know, can the linebackers hang with them? And the tight end. So these are things we're going to have to see how they game plan and how it all works out. But I think the main issue is, and the main goal, I should say, for the Patriots is disrupting their rhythm. Everything they do is on rhythm. It's all timing and all that. They have to throw off that timing. That's where, the interior pressure and whatnot comes in. You have to get him moving off his spot and disrupt that timing. If they do that, I think they have a great puncher's chance in this game to be very competitive.
Yeah, I like the optimism there. And I do agree with you. If the New England Patriots are clicking on all cylinders and they're able to neutralize some of the big time high octane weapons that Miami has on this offense, it automatically neutralizes what Tua Tagovailoa is going to be able to do. Now, obviously, Tua's presence is going to make these guys more formidable, more of a threat than they were in the first matchup, which could be a bad thing, a very scary thing for the New England Patriots. But you play a little bit tighter up front, folks. It allows the secondary to be able to play their game the way they'd like to. And who knows, maybe it keeps the Dolphins off the board long enough for the Patriots offense to go to work on some of those Miami Dolphins zone schemes that they love to run. However, the last time these two teams faced off, Miami actually played a little more man than they usually do. Will they employ that same type of strategy, or are the quarterback stylings of one rookie Drake Maye about to throw a wrench into those plans? Steve and I are going to discuss what the Patriots must do on the offensive side of the ball to earn victory when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Locked On listeners, this month is all about gratitude. And in addition to all of the friends, family, and colleagues who have earned a well-deserved thank you this year, there's another person we don't get to thank enough. That's right, ourselves. It's sometimes hard to remind ourselves that we're trying our best to make sense of everything. And in this crazy world, that is not easy. Here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people in your life, including yourself. And therapy can help you do just that. It's helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. Therapy also empowers you to be the best version of yourself. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedon today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. Locked On listeners, we've all been there. You want tickets to the big game on the gridiron, or maybe you want to check out some early action on the hardwood or on the ice, or simply be there when your favorite music or comedy act comes to town. Well, Game Time is your best destination to help you make your memories. Game Time is the fastest and easiest method I've ever used to buy tickets. And Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out all of the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I especially love their zone deals where you pick the section and Game Time picks the seats for big savings. So don't delay, do it today. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNFL That's LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots as we get you ready for kickoff this Sunday, Week 12 of the 2024 NFL season. Your New England Patriots traveling south to Florida to take on the Miami Dolphins at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. 1 p.m. kickoff, and here today to help us break down what this matchup may mean and whether or not the Patriots can earn a victory in what typically is a very difficult place to do so for them is my good friend Steve Balestrieri, my Patriots Paisan, our resident voice of reason, lending a thicket of knowledge to us here on Locked On Patriots today. And Steve, in the previous segment, we talked a lot about the defense and their strategy for potentially trying to contain Tua Tagovailoa and put a lid on some of the high-octane weapons that he has at his disposal. But if the Patriots are going to win this game, they have to score more than the Miami Dolphins do. That's not an easy task. But New England does have a way to be able to take it to this Dolphins defense. Their pass rush has had their up and down moments in 2024. And because of that, there may be an opportunity for the Patriots to be able to succeed. Now, the last time these two teams faced off, Steve, the Dolphins broke from tradition, which they usually play a ton of zone schemes. They're noted for it. This is what their defense thrives on. But they play man coverage on about 40% of their snaps. And obviously, the last time these two teams played, Jacoby Brissett was the quarterback. And the whole theory was to play enough man to force Jacoby to hold the football, try to make your receivers downfield beat you. It seemed obvious, at least to me, that they didn't have too much worry or weren't too concerned with the Patriots' pass-catching arsenal. But Jacoby Brissett is not going to be the quarterback this week. Drake Maye is going to be in the lineup, and Drake is capable of making plays that Jacoby just, for lack of a better term, does not have in his bag of tricks. When you look at this game offensively, if the Patriots are going to be successful, if they're going to attack either the man coverage or the zone schemes that Miami's throwing at them, what do Drake and this offense need to do to be able to neutralize Miami's defense?
Well, if they start playing man, I think AVP should spread them out and make them declare a little easier for Drake to find his matchups that he wants, and then the running lanes will open up. And if they're, running down the field with their back to the quarterback, as Drake Maye has shown that he can bust a run, and pick up 10, 15, 20 yards out of whack. Mm-hmm. So if the Dolphins start showing a lot of man coverage, that's what I would do. I'd spread them out. If they play their zones, they have zone beaters in the arsenal, and that's when you rely on guys like Demario Douglas, Hunter Henry. You attack the middle of the field, and for a rookie quarterback, Drake has no issues with throwing over the middle. I know a lot of rookies at first they're a little tentative throwing to the middle of the field, but Drake has shown he's very good at that, and that's where I would attack. I mean, if they start playing zone, which I think they will, I attack the middle of the field. I use guys like Hunter Henry, Hooper, Demario Douglas for sure, because he can find, those soft spots in the zone. Henry's excellent at that. And, mix in some Kendrick Bourne. And Bourne's he's an established vet. He knows how to find those soft spots in zone. And, that's how I attack them. But I wouldn't leave out some running plays designed for Drake, especially if they're going to play man.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. I also really agree with you on using the tight ends to their advantage. Miami's coming off a game where they did not do a good job of covering Brock Bowers, one of the better tight ends in this league, against the Las Vegas Raiders. 13 catches, 126 yards, and a touchdown. He went off. The Patriots have a couple of guys that can exploit those deficiencies in Miami's defense. And you mentioned Demario Douglas finding those voids that Hunter Henry is really good at being able to create. It could create some very interesting opportunities for the Patriots to be able to take it to Miami's defense. Steve, obviously, anything the Patriots do when it comes to skill on offense is really going to be determined on them winning battles in the trenches. And the offensive line has had its share of difficulty, but it's almost looking like Cole Strange may be able to give this one a go on Sunday. Once again, folks, at the time that Steve and I are recording this, it is not a done deal as to whether or not he's either been ruled out, eligible, questionable. The final injury report has not been posted as of yet. So keep that in mind with this discussion. But Steve, whether Cole is in the lineup or whether he's not, putting you on the hot seat in terms of the offensive line, how do you see them being able to neutralize guys like Calais Campbell and Zach Saylor, who are really, I think, the two most dynamic defenders that Miami has in its weaponry right now?
Yeah, running the ball inside with those two guys is going to be difficult. I mean, we know that. And those guys are really talented and they're great at what they do. So rather than attack a strength of theirs, maybe some of this outside zone stuff, but they have to be able to run the football. They have to find a way to be able to run the football. And, you and I talked a couple of days ago right here. Cole Strange is probably a better fit in AVP style offense than he was in the old system, the Erhard Perkins system that the Patriots ran for so many years. So if he's able to go, maybe he can jump in and help with that a little bit. That would be a welcome sight, wouldn't it, to have Strange in there and, carving some holes for the running game, because they really need that for play action to work. And, I think outside zone might be the way to go this week, because, you're not going to have a ton of opportunities, with Campbell and Saylor in there. So, but yeah, this offense, I think, they have to be aggressive. They can't be half measures this week. You've always had difficult, even during the Brady years. The Patriots always had a scrap in Miami. Now, some games they blew them out, yes, but they lost their fair share down there, even in the Brady years, and even the ones they won, a lot of times it was a scrap. So now you're trying to rewrite the history books, right? They did it with Tua. Tua was 6-0 against the Patriots, and now, it's Drake Maye's turn. So what better way of, flipping the script, as you like to say, than start a new trend with Drake going down and winning in Miami?
Yeah, without question. It would be a nice way for the Patriots to be able to spend the last weekend before Thanksgiving, before the holidays begin in earnest, by earning an upset victory over there. How shall we say, acrimonious AFC East rivals. I'm trying to be as diplomatic as I possibly can here, Steve. But look, no, seriously, there's a lot of respect between both teams, and I know the Patriots respect that Dolphins team in every aspect, including the coaching staff, as much as anyone else in this league. Before we take our leave of this subject, my friend, and I ask you for your game prediction, folks, which both Steve and I will be making our game predictions in just a moment. So keep it right here. You're not going to want to miss a single second of that action. Kyle Krebs, host of Locked On Dolphins, once again joined me here on the crossover, and he mentioned the importance of Chop Robinson on the edge and his ability to dictate what type of day the Dolphins may have defensively. We know that Robinson loves to rush over the right tackle. He loves to rush over the right side. That position right now is being manned by Trey Jacobs. If you're the New England Patriots, is this a matchup that potentially worries you? What can Trey do to try to neutralize Chop? Because with that first step quickness and his ability to bend the corner to the edge, this could be a problematic matchup for the New England Patriots.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sure the Patriots are well aware of it. I mean, you have to be aware of Robinson. And, the funny thing is Robinson's early NFL career has kind of played out exactly like his Penn State career. He's not wowing anybody with the amount of sacks, but you look at the amount of pressure he gets, it's almost every down. And that was the same thing in college, so they have to be well aware of where, he's coming. I think, having an extra tight end on the field and helping, Jacobs out with a chip here and there, or if they have to, leave a tight end in to block. I think that's the way to go. Maybe on certain plays, they keep a running back in the block and, be aware of where he's at. But yeah, definitely. I liked him coming out. And again, he's that type of guy. He's not going to blow you away with the amount of sacks he's getting, but he's going to get pressure on almost every down. Yeah. So they have to be well aware of him and have a plan.
Yeah, without question, they need to have a plan, especially knowing that one of the areas where Trey Jacobs struggles the most is with a short corner. And that's where Chop can really go to work. He really has established himself as someone that can apply pressure to the quarterback and apply it at a very good rate. 18 pressures, this season so far for him. So definitely a tough matchup, a potentially problematic matchup for the New England Patriots. But is it one they can overcome? Steve's outlined a scenario in which they might be able to do it, but will it be enough to carry the Patriots to victory? Well, in just a moment, Steve Balestrieri and I are going to provide our game prediction for this Week 12 matchup and what it may mean for the Patriots even in subsequent weeks if they're able to get a victory over Miami this weekend. All that and more as we wrap up our Patriots-Dolphins preview right here on the Locked On Patriots podcast, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Listen up, Locked On listeners, especially all of you renters out there. If you haven't heard of Bilt, well, you're about to thank me, because earning points on rent is now a reality when you pay your rent through Bilt. Bilt lets you earn points on rent payments and redeem them toward flights, hotels, and a whole lot more. After all, one of your biggest investments should get you more than just a roof over your head. Let me explain. There is no cost to join Bilt, and as a member, you'll earn valuable points on rent and on your everyday spending. Bilt points can be transferred to your favorite hotels and airlines, and even the ones you haven't heard of. There are over 500 airlines and over 700,000 hotels and properties around the world that you can redeem your Bilt points toward. Points can also be redeemed towards a future rent payment and unique experiences that only Bilt members can access. So if you're not earning points on rent, my question is, why not? Start earning points on rent you're already paying by going to joinbilt.com/LockedOnNFL. That's joinbilt.com/LockedOnNFL. Make sure to use our URL so they know we sent you. Joinbilt.com/LockedOnNFL to start earning points on your rent payments today. Patriots fans, once again, thank you for joining me here today on Locked On Patriots as we get you ready for Week 12's kickoff between the New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. 1 p.m. kickoff at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. And as the Godfather might say, there are things being negotiated that'll answer all your questions and solve all your problems. That's all we can tell you about our business right now. But Steve and I are going to tell you a little bit more about our business because we are going to provide our game prediction, Steve, because as the late, great Gorilla Monsoon would say, the time for the talk is just about over. The Pats are attempting to earn their way back into the win column. They would love nothing more than to earn a divisional victory. Miami right now is trying to climb their way back into the playoff push after it was a very, very difficult few weeks for them without the presence of Tua Tagovailoa. Dug themselves a pretty big hole, but they're technically still alive when it comes to trying to fight for a final playoff spot. So if the New England Patriots come in and they play the type of defense you've outlined, they deploy the offensive strategy that you outlined, is this a winnable game for the Patriots? And how do you see this all playing out once all is said and done?
Yeah, it's funny because, the past couple of years, Miami has looked really, really good. But this year, they only have one more win than New England. It's not like they're a juggernaut right now. So, yes, I give the Patriots a very good chance in this game. Now, that being said, everything's going to have to fall in the favor of the way we played it out. Right. And it's not going to be easy. But I'll tell you what, with Miami's running game, I know Christian Ellis has been banged up, but he's been struggling. I really hope Taki is fully healthy this week. I think they really need a big game from him in the middle, especially in the running game. And, he's going to have to help out in the passing game as well. I don't know the status of Marte Mapu yet. I think they really need him in there, when they go to that nickel and dime coverage where he, acts like a linebacker in there. I think they missed that last week when he was out. We'll have to see. But then again, the other thing in the Patriots' favor, Miami has a very short week, and they're going to Green Bay on Thanksgiving. And could the Patriots catch them kind of leaning forward in the foxhole a little bit by starting to think too much about the Green Bay Packers? That's what gives me hope that they could pull this upset off. But, theoretically is one thing, on the field's another. I really want to see them play a really good game in Miami, but I think they're just going to come up a little short. If they had Juwan Bentley in this game, I would love my chances of pulling the upset off in this one. I just think they're going to come up a bit short. I got Miami winning this one 24-20, but Drake Maye, I'm not ruling him out of pulling off a big upset, because the Patriots are due for a type of game where they start scoring points in bunches.
Yeah, I think you make a very, very good point. Look, I think offensively, I think this team can exploit the Dolphins defense, even though the Dolphins defense is much better at containing the run this time around than they were the last time. I think there were a lot of questions about Miami's run defense. Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson actually had pretty decent games back in week 5, especially Ramondre Stevenson, 12 carries for 89 yards against that Miami defense. So if they're able to bottle this up a little bit more, it's going to put more pressure on Drake Maye. But at the same time, Drake is the type of player that can rise above that in ways that Jacoby Brissett had difficulty doing. So it allows the Patriots, I think, more of a puncher's chance maybe to go for the big play if they need to, if they really need to make things happen. But I think Drake's a savvy enough quarterback to be able to attack the intermediate areas of the field and move the football with a greater degree of accuracy and with a greater degree of effectiveness than the Patriots had in the past with Jacoby Brissett under center. Now, at the same time, defensively, they're going to have their hands full, especially now with Tua back in the lineup. As we said before, this is a much more effective and much more potent offense with Tua in the lineup. And Kyle made a very good point when we spoke to him earlier this week by saying that Mike McDaniel is not just reverting back to what they did prior to losing Tua Tagovailoa. They had to make adjustments. They had to make sure that they were using all areas of the field, using the short routes in order to be able to gain more efficiency on third down. The Dolphins are still doing that. They're looking at ways to be able to do that with Tua in the lineup, and then almost using what Tua gives you in terms of being able to stretch the field with some of his big-time pass catchers, and using both of those to their advantage. If the Dolphins start hitting on both of these, it's going to be a very long day for the Patriots in Miami Gardens. Because of that, and because of the strides Miami's defense has made in helping to bottle up that run a little bit, I think Miami wins a tight game in this one, folks. I have the Dolphins coming away with a victory by the final score of 21-17 over the New England Patriots this Sunday in Miami Gardens, Steve. Bud, what can I say? I always appreciate you coming out and sharing your wisdom, your counsel, your insight. Before we take our leave of this subject, any more final thoughts on this game? Anyone you think Patriots fans should be keeping their sharp eye on? Or in the event that the Patriots are able to pull the upset here, what could this mean for the Pats in subsequent weeks here down the line as they trudge on through the rest of the season?
Well, I think I think every game from now on is important for this team, regardless of their record, because they're trying to build something.
Mm-hmm.
And, what better way of building up your team and your confidence moving forward than denying, one of your heated rivals.
Mm-hmm.
There's not as much hate as with the Jets, but, they're heated. I mean, this rivalry's gone on for a long time, and it's a good one. It's It is. It's great for both teams. The thing to watch out is, teams that love to throw the ball down the field, Miami, Kansas City, you watch their quarterbacks. A big percentage of their passes are at or behind the line of scrimmage now because they try to use their speed in different ways. And, they throw to Hill behind the line of scrimmage or maybe a 1-yard pass, and, they try to get him with the ball in his hands. And if the Patriots can take that stuff away, they have the ability to cover the speed to cover the deep routes. But those short, behind the line or at the line of scrimmage passes, those are the ones that they really need to step up with. And, we'll see. I can't wait. I think it's going to be a really good football game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good football game as well, folks. And don't forget, a 1 p.m. kickoff from Miami Gardens on your CBS affiliate. Check it out. And I do think it's going to be a fun one to watch. Anytime these two teams take the field together, it's always an exciting game. When you're locking horns with a divisional opponent, it is always interesting because these two teams know each other so well. They know their tendencies. Whether the personnel changes, whether the coaching changes, there is still such a degree of familiarity that these two sides have with one another that it almost intrinsically falls into the category of these being instant classics at times. So who knows? Maybe we have another instant classic in store this Sunday for the Patriots in Miami. But in the meantime, speaking of instant classics, my good buddy, always able to provide the wisdom, the counsel, the knowledge we need to move us forward. And Steve, you've done that. I want to thank you for stopping by, not just once, but twice this week. Before I let you go, please let everyone, where all of our listeners can reach out to you, interact with you, and what you got marinating in La Cucina Balestrieri over the weekend until the next time you join us and provide your grades for Patriots Dolphins.
Yeah, I thank you once again. I mean, twice in 1 week. I'm blessed. So yeah, always a pleasure, my friend. You can find me on Twitter, AB7SFG. I write for PatsFans.com. My Sunday column coming out. My schedule lately has been all over the place, so I didn't get a chance to do my keys and key players. I'm just going to incorporate that into my Sunday column once again. So be looking for that. But, I just think that this is the start of things looking up for this team.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Look, bottom line, folks, whether the Patriots earn the victory this weekend or not, right now, what the Patriots need to do to consider themselves fortunate in terms of wins is how they're playing on the field, how they're responding to adversity, how they're coming back from losses like the one they suffered last week against the Rams. They need to be able to do that, and especially in a hostile environment like Miami, if they can go down there and give the Dolphins a game, even if they don't come away with the win, you have to admire that type of fight. And if they don't, that may create more questions. And I'm sure we'll cover those here on Locked On Patriots and all throughout the Patriots media within the coming days and weeks. But bottom line, folks, it is always an honor when this man joins me on the microphone. Anytime he puts pen to paper, voice to microphone, definite appointment listening, and check out his Sunday column, one of the best in the business anywhere in the NFL. On behalf of Steve Balestrieri, I'm Mike Debate, reminding all of you to stay safe, to stay well, to be the change you wish to see in the world. Enjoy the game on Sunday. Don't forget to come right back here to Locked On Patriots postgame for my good friend Cam Stewart as he breaks down your New England Patriots postcast. And our good buddy, the big green man himself, Thomas Murphy, will be joining me on Monday to break down all of the action that you've seen on the field and talk a little bit about his monster keys to victory. So keep it right here on Locked On Patriots. You will not want to miss a single second of the action. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we'll see you back here again on Monday on Locked On Patriots.